Good afternoon, and thank you for visiting my channel one more time. Kelvin Simmons, retired probation and parole officer, retired U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer, and I call myself a retired adjunct college professor with the topic of criminal justice and law enforcement. Today, as you already know, the topic is that will be discussing is Trump's Department of Injustice or Retaliation versus America's criminal justice system. Now, I may ramble a little bit, but I hope I get my point across. I was actually told by a viewer that I need to state my objective in my video so that the viewers will be looking forward to whether or not I reach that. They're going to be able to judge whether or not I provided what I said I would provide. So my objective in this video is to give you a better understanding of what our House of Representatives jobs are, what they are supposed to be doing for us. That's what that's my objective in this video. And what you may learn from this video is that when you have a Department of Justice that's acting like a Department of Retaliation, then you'll find that it's difficult for us as citizens to have much faith in our criminal justice system. In other words, our justice system was designed around the constitutional idea that all citizens, yes, that's all of us, are equal, regardless of our party affiliation. So you can be a Republican, you could be a MAGA, a Democrat, Independent, whatever you choose. You are supposed to still be afforded the same under our criminal justice system, based on our Constitution. So I'll start with this comment. First, I want to give a shout out to my references. I'm using as a reference for this video Midas Touch Network, specifically attorney Marsalis, and another Midas Network. I don't know how you call it, but he's affiliated with the Midas Touch Network. Michael Popak, P-O-K. He's also an attorney, and I think he has a channel called Legal AF. So if you need further information on what my topic is and more information, they have what people call tons of information, videos concerning our current and past presidents' administrations. They seem to have covered it very well. So I'm going to start off with what I call headwaters. Headwaters, if you're familiar with rivers, and if you're not, now you're going to know, because I'm going to tell you. This is for those who don't know. Whenever you have a river, the water comes from some place for that river. When you get to the end of that river, example, the Mississippi River, and it dumps into the Gulf of Mexico, well, all of that water started someplace, and we call that the headwaters. That's where the water came from. And it probably was snow melting that started the water to flow. And the snow melting probably keeps the water flowing. And I'm saying that to say our criminal justice system begins with our House of Representatives, our legislators. Remember, I'm focusing on the House of Representatives today, not the senators. So they're what I'm calling our headwaters for our criminal justice system. If you have a crooked leader, how about that, or a crooked speaker, or a biased speaker of the House, then you're going to have biased laws coming out of the House of Representatives. And you might say, but the senators can stop that. Well, if you have the same type of individuals controlling the House that controls the Senate, then you can figure that whatever the House comes up with, the Senate is going to agree to it. But it starts with the House of Representatives. Example, the House of Representatives should not be self-serving. Don't elect them for more than 2 terms. After they've been there 2 terms, they're more interested in themselves. Yes, I'm saying this. They're more interested in themselves than the people who voted them in. If they weren't more interested in themselves, then they probably would not have, excuse me, Donald J. Trump as their leader, because they would be doing what they're supposed to be there to do, to represent their constituents, us, their little people. They're supposed to be there to represent us, not a leader of the MAGA movement. Yes, they're not supposed to be there for a particular party's leader. In other words, Mac Johnson is the leader right now. They're not supposed to be there to do his biddings while he's doing Donald J. Trump's biddings. That's not their purpose. They were elected to protect us, to look out for our interests, the voters. But that's not how it has worked for the last, at least a decade, with Mitch McConnell in charge, and now we have this guy called Mac Johnson, who, for some reason, he has bought into not just the MAGA movement, but Donald J. Trump. He seems to be Donald Trump's flunky, when actually he's in a position where he's supposed to help control Donald J. Trump. But I'm off on a rambling thing right there, and I want to try to keep my video a little short. In other words, Mac Johnson's loyalty is not to the people who voted him into the position. It seems to be to the sitting president, not the citizens, but to the sitting president. I mean, just a little example of how he put off the Epstein vote. Yes, by not doing his job and swearing in the new member of the House from another state. He just put it off. Of course, it's not his fault all by himself. I'll take up for him on that note. There were other MAGA or Republican representatives who were available to vote to have that Epstein file made available to the public. But none of them did anything until their leader, who's not supposed to be their leader, they're supposed to be the oversight of the president. But their leader, at the last minute, so to speak, told them, go ahead and vote for the release of the Epstein file, because we have a plan. Oh, they probably didn't say that for us to hear it, but we have a plan. So you all can vote it in, but we have a plan to make sure that they don't get released. Now, you got to keep in mind, Donald Trump, the master of the put off, the master of the sending it into the future, probably even into the twilight zone. Yes, I'm sure he has a plan to put it off. He initially has 30 days to provide it, according to the bill that was approved and he supposedly signed. But I think he's going to use a little more than 30 days. But anyway, let me give you a bad example of the criminal justice system, a bad example for the criminal justice system. And it goes back to the headwaters, all the way back to the legislators, back to Donald Trump's Department of Injustice or Retaliation. Supposedly, your sitting president instructed his DOJ/DOI to contact the leadership in the state of Texas and instruct them to figure out how to come up with 5 more Republican seats in the House. How about that? And the people in charge in Texas, the legislators and their governor, they obliged their leader. Oh yes, their leader. And I'm talking about Donald J. Trump. I'm probably jealous that I can't be in a position where I got all these people jumping at my feet, even if I just took my socks off and they stink. How about that? It's something how people can get caught up into one man. So kudos to you, Trump. to have so many flunkies that are willing to kiss up to you. But anyway, back to the topic. So they voted it in. They got their 5 extra seats for their leader. But it turns out that a federal judge on appeal, 3 judges, see if I can get my 3 fingers, 3 judges, federal judges sitting in the appeals court, decided against what Texas did and overturned it. So those 5 that they gave to Donald, they're no longer available to Donald. The interesting thing is, one of the judges, Mr. Brown, or your Honorable Mr. Brown, I got to give him the honor because he definitely deserves it as far as the criminal justice system is concerned. Because remember, the judiciary is a part of the criminal justice system. And it seems like that's the only system that's holding back the leader. I'm talking about old Donald. So he was appointed by Trump in 2019. So I'm sure Trump have his regrets against this guy. But that was just an example. Now I'm going to play professor for a few minutes. And I'm going to give information. But generally what I did in a class, if I wasn't using PowerPoint, I would have already read the material. Because for some reason I read all the textbooks that I taught from. So if I taught it the previous quarter or semester, then I already know the information. I just read through it to see if there were some changes, if it's a new edition of the book. But I'm going to use a paper to read some items to you. And this has to do with the House of Representatives, the headwaters for our criminal justice system. It's what they are supposed to be doing. Mike Johnson. The main purpose of the House of Representatives is to serve as the legislative chamber, most directly representing the people. The people? Kind of remind me of that "We the People," even though it seems like it's changed a little bit to Donald Trump and Mike Johnson. But back to this, I digress. The House of Representatives works with they deal with revenue bills. Notice that's not the president, that's the House that initiates revenue bills. They're not supposed to take a bill that the president tell them he wants passed and work it and pass it, because they're the majority. The Democrats are the minority at this time in the House. So they gave old Donald what he wanted, the bill that he wanted, that's going to take away ACA from those people who voted for him. And I'm talking about MAGA people who voted for him. Oh yes, you all thought that you all were getting something, right? You never thought you were getting Obamacare. Now they know they've been hoodwinked. Now he wants to take away their subsidies. Yes, MAGA people who voted for Donald J. Trump, he is taking away your subsidies. He is putting you in a position where you cannot afford health care insurance. I even heard he's cutting, or his administration is cutting, Medicaid. And how many MAGA people are on Medicaid? Boy, how it works when you vote to cut your own arm off. But anyway, moving right along. The House of Representatives has the sole authority, how about this, to impeach federal officials. That includes the president. They also are in a position where if there's a tie of electoral college votes in a presidential race, they can vote to determine who the president is going to be. Now, within the last 20 years, that did take place. That's history. You can go look it up and see who those, what state and who those contestants were. So now that I beat that up, key purposes of your House of Representative people. Sometimes it seems like the people in positions, they forget. Mike Johnson, you apparently forgot what you're supposed to be doing. Your head so far up that you've forgotten. The House introduces, debates, and votes on bills. It introduces, anyway, while it works, how about this? While it works with the Senate. Now, of course, it'll work with the Senate now, because the majority in the Senate is what do you call them? Oh, Republicans. Probably more MAGA than anything else. They supposed to get together with the Senate on all bills for raising revenue. All those bills supposed to originate in the House. Ugh. That's according to the Constitution. I didn't just throw that in. That's what I'm reading, according to the Constitution. But I already knew that. But I'm reading from a piece of paper. Initiating revenue bills, not your president deciding to put tariffs on everybody and raise the cost of everything. Make me don't want to go to the store. The last time I was in Walmart, I was picking up things. I look at them, I put them back. I said, you know what, I can do without these, Trump. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I can do without these, Trump and your tariffs. Hey, so that's supposed to be the House of Representatives. But when Trump owns MAGA Mac Johnson, then guess what? They have the majority and Trump owns him. So what are you going to get? You're going to get whatever Donald J. Trump wants. Remember, there are many people who aspire to be in a position that Trump is in, where he can control so many butt kissers. That's not what I wanted to say. But I'll take this opportunity to tell you that my two granddaughters told me yesterday after I picked them up from school, and we were having a conversation, and I was showing them my video. They told me they watch my videos with their mother. So I have to be nice. I can't say no curse words. Yeah, I have to keep my video child friendly because they're 6 years old and 5-year-olds. So I will continue to be good unless I ask their mama not to let them see the video. But back to this House of Representatives. They're in the position to impeach the sitting president. Mac Johnson, he might eat a peach, but that's as close as he's going to come to impeaching Donald Trump. Eat a peach. That's about it. Anyway, let me see what else. Government oversight. The House of Representatives, they're supposed to have oversight over the executive branch. That would be where the president sits. Now, actually, this time, I'm not just scratching my head because it's itching. I'm scratching my head as part of me pondering this. They're supposed to have oversight. Boy, I tell you, if you ever been to a farm and you saw the chickens in the chicken coop and you saw a fox hanging around and you decide, I'm gonna see if I can get them to be friends and put that fox in there with the chickens. Well, that's Micah Mike. Micah Mark, what's his name? Mac Johnson and Donald J. Trump. You take my man Johnson and put him in there with them chickens. What do you think he gonna do? He gonna deal with them in this case. Because in this case, the chickens are in charge. Yeah, Mac, you might be the fox, but the chickens are in charge. So you put him in that coop with the chickens, he gonna be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Trump. What you want me to do? And Mr. Trump gonna do a little bit of clucking, but Mike, the fox, is gonna understand what he wants. That might be, go eat something else. You no longer have a taste for chickens. Remember that. I'm in charge. But anyway, moving right along. Representing the people. I done rambled enough. The House of Representatives, one of their duties is to represent the people. That's what they're supposed to do. Now, when we talk about the criminal justice system, I think I'll save that for another video because I've talked so long about what their responsibilities are. I mean, I've talked so much about the House of Representatives that it'll be another video for what the criminal justice system is responsible for doing. But I think I've rambled enough and had enough fun talking about the House of Representatives, the headwaters of our criminal justice system. So I'll ask you now, I'd like to say please give me a like and subscribe. I mean, if I get enough views and subscribers, maybe in the next 6 months, I'll get paid for doing these. But in the meantime, the only way I could possibly get paid doing a YouTube video is that some of my viewers go to my books and go to Amazon and purchase them. my second book is, it may be a little difficult to read this, is Freedom or Jail? Experiences of a Career Probation and Parole Officer by Kelvin Simmons. That would be me. Yeah. Yeah, there's some interesting stories in there. But I will admit that I don't talk about Mac Johnson or our president. I don't do that in this book. But please like and subscribe and share my video. And if nothing else, if you're just sitting around with nothing to do, go to Amazon and look up Kelvin Simmons books, and you'll know it's my book because you'll see my picture on the book, because there are other Kelvin Simmons there. Oh, that's when I was the probation officer. And on this book, no, that's not me in jail. Somebody asked me if that was me, but this is the front cover of my other book. So thank you, and have a good day. Bye.